So we're going to start by removing where I've dry fitted where this should go. And in fact, I've got marks on either side with the grease pencil or China marker, whatever you prefer to call, because that will rub off, but it will give me a pretty good idea where I want to place this. So I'm going to start by removing it. Taking the tape off. I'm going to try to get most of this in the shot. And what I want to do is I'm going to roll this back. This way it gives a nice angle to it because you're wanting to encourage the actual decal to stay on the adhesive side there. Okay, see that's wanting to come off, so just go in with your fingers. I'm hoping I get this. Try it again. Just be patient, it'll work. Now this is real live right here. It's okay. So I'm just keeping the side I've already released back here, encouraging it not to roll up. And sometimes you can actually stop. You can just stop and you can try another corner. I've done this many times. Sometimes you can just have a letter or two that's just being difficult. So I'm pressing it on the back. I'm encouraging it to stick to the pre-mask. And all of a sudden it will come undone. There we go. It's getting there, slowly but surely. I didn't know if you all wanted to do this in the clean short clips or real life time. Sometimes they come off very easy and sometimes not. Usually if it's more slender letters, you just have to be a little more patient with it. Okay, so I've got that. Okay, now at this point you want to just drop the backing, just lay it over to the side, and you're going to pick up your floating solution and you're going to spritz it. Give it a nice little spritz. And then up here I have marks that I've made. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line these marks up. There's one. There's one. There's one. Okay. Now this solution, some people call it slip solution. I always heard it called floating solution. Of course, it might be from what side of the mountain you're on, or if you're even in the mountains. Okay. And I'm also going to spritz the top. Now I'm going to use my squeegee, and I am going to start in the middle and go down, and then go back up. And I'm just going to keep doing that, just overlapping as you go along. Try to hold that cabinet shut so that it's not making quite as much noise. Okay. And you'll find with the vinyl, it pretty much tells you what it wants to do. It pretty much tells you when you need to stop and rethink what you're doing. Okay, now this may let me go ahead or it may not. If not, I can already see this cue is going to land in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start approximately right in here. I'm going to encourage this to go to the center and encourage this to come this way. So now that floating solution will come out both ways. So you can keep a little towel handy if you don't want what's underneath it to get wet. Now I put this furniture transfer on before and it was different. It's not the same as this vinyl that we're putting on. And I did a little video of that. I like learning new things. The vinyl I've done for years. It's part of my work. But I don't normally have past projects. Usually a little too busy for it, but hey, first time for everything. Okay, I'm going to stop here. We're waiting for this to dry and then we'll release that. But while that's happening, we'll go ahead and do this top piece. Okay, I went ahead and I applied the top polka dot piece just as I did the lettering. And I was going to mention that I use one of these China markers to mark little spots. Those will rub off. And I put top, and you'll see later on why that's pretty important. Sometimes you get part way through a job and realize something is not correct. We're going to try to avoid that. Okay, so let's do the top. And as before, I'll start in the center and then work side to side. But you saw me do that already, so we'll give you a little break and be back as we advance. So we've given it enough time that the letters should have adhered enough that we can take the pre-mask off. Now, I normally do this sort of on a 45-degree angle, and what you want to do is just keep your eye as you're pulling this. Just kind of keep your eye, make sure that a little piece isn't coming up, and that's really easy to do. So just take your time, and if you see that a letter is wanting to come up, then you probably should just stop and let it dry out some more. I have found that wetting the top of this pre-mask helps release it a bit also. But you'll see, like I said, vinyl lets you know what it wants. And it lets you know when you need to quit. So we don't want that to happen. Okay. So I'm going to roll this up and just continue right here. We'll give it a couple more minutes. We're going to take this pre-mask off when it's ready, and then we're going to apply a piece of vinyl without pre-mask. And the reason I'm going to do that is it really will probably go on much better and easier since it's a solid piece. Whereas when you have pre-mask, you often run the chance of getting bubbles under it. That can be a little difficult to work out. And I've done this for work before, so I'm not a perfectionist, but I like things that look really good. But in this case, I think this will work well. Now it's time to apply this piece that's going to go underneath the lettering. I've got marks already made up there. And it's important, since we don't have pre-mask on there, to sort of dampen your fingers, because you don't want to compromise any of that adhesive under there. Then you bend back the corner, and then with your wet thumb, you want to pull that back. This is a manageable piece. I'm actually going to do this on both sides. I will tell you that black vinyl, a gloss vinyl, is not, well, let's just say it's not really forgiving. Marks can be made on it so easy. Even working down an air bubble with a clean thumb will often leave scratches. So I'm using the felt squeegee. So now I don't have to worry about using pre-mask, and that pre-mask, as it pulls, sometimes we'll want to create a bubble here or there. Since we're working with something solid and that's small and straight, we're good to go. We're going to take a look at what we've accomplished. So we have the vinyl applied at the top and the bottom. The middle is that furniture transfer that you just rub in, and the rest of it is your vinyl decals. A couple tips are use a heat gun for those edges, and in the center or even on the edge of either side of the doors where you need to trim back, use a good sharp knife and use that as a guide. So you're not going to be taking that knife and cutting into the paint. You're just going to rest that sharp knife against one of the doors and then just glide down. And that should do it. I hope you learned a little something. The learning curve.